Our Lord's Sermon on the Mount, explained by Saint Augustine, chapter 16, following. For what do you say, O apostle? Surely that a believing husband who has an unbelieving wife pleased to dwell with him is not to put her away. Just so, says he. When therefore the Lord also gives this command, that a man should not put away his wife, saying, for the cause of fornication, why do you say here, I speak not the Lord? For this reason, vice that the idolatry which unbelievers follow and every other noxious superstition is fornication. Now the Lord permitted a wife to be put away for the cause of fornication, but in permitting, he did not command it. He gave opportunity to the apostle for advising that whoever wished should not put away an unbelieving wife, in order that perchance in this way she might become a believer. For, says he, the unbelieving husband is sanctified in the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified in the brother. I suppose it had already occurred that some wives were embracing the faith by means of their believing husbands, and husbands by means of their believing wives, and although not mentioning names, he yet urged his case by example in order to strengthen his counsel. Then he goes on to say, else were you children unclean, but now are they holy. For now the children were Christians who were sanctified at the instance of one of the parents, or with the consent of both, which would not take place unless the marriage were broken up by one of the parties becoming a believer, and unless the unbelief of the spouse were borne with so far as to give an opportunity of believing. This therefore is the counsel of him whom I regard as having spoken the words, whatsoever you spend more, when I come again, I will repay you. Moreover, if unbelief is fornication, and idolatry unbelief, and covetousness idolatry, it is not to be doubted that covetousness also is fornication. Who then, in that case, can rightly separate any unlawful lust whatever from the category of fornication, if covetousness is fornication? And from this we perceive that because of unlawful lusts, not only those of which one is guilty in acts of uncleanness with another's husband or wife, but any unlawful lusts whatever, which cause the soul, making a bad use of the body, to wander from the law of God, and to be ruinously and basely corrupted, a man may without crime put away his wife, and a wife her husband, because the Lord makes the cause of fornication an exception. Which fornication, in accordance with the above considerations, we are compelled to understand as being general and universal. But when he says, saving for the cause of fornication, he has not said of which of them, whether the man or the woman. For not only it is allowed to put away a wife who commits fornication, but whoever puts away that wife, even by whom he is himself compelled to commit fornication, puts her away undoubtedly for the cause of fornication. As for instance, if a wife should compel one to sacrifice to idols, the man who puts away such an one puts her away for the cause of fornication, not only on her part, but on his own also. On her part, because she commits fornication, on his own, that he may not commit fornication. Nothing, however, is more unjust than for a man to put away his wife because of fornication, if he he himself also is convicted of committing fornication. For that passage occurs to one, for wherein you judge another, you condemn yourself, for you that judge does the same thing. And for this reason, whosoever wishes to put away his wife because of fornication ought first to be cleared of fornication, and a like remark I would make respecting also the woman. But in reference to what he says, whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits adultery. It may be asked whether she also who is married commits adultery in the same way as he does who marries her. For she also is commanded to remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, but this in the case of her departing from her husband. There is, however, a great difference whether she put away or be put away. For if she put away her husband and marry another, she seems to have left her former husband from a desire of changing her marriage connection, which is without doubt an adulterous thought. But if she be put away by the husband with whom she desired to be, he indeed who marries her commits adultery, according to the Lord's declaration, but whether she also be involved in a like crime is uncertain, although it is much less easy to discover how, when a man and woman have intercourse one with another with equal consent, one of them should be an adulterer and the other not. To this is to be added the consideration that if he commits adultery by marrying her who is divorced from her husband, although she does not put away but is put away, she causes him to commit adultery, which nevertheless the Lord forbids. And hence we infer that whether she has put away or has put away her husband, it is necessary for her to remain unmarried or to be reconciled to her husband.